Please welcome Stacy Science.
Hello, everyone. My name is Stacy Sines from the San Francisco Bay Area Professional Chapter, and I'm here with you today to talk about the chapter management tool, better known as CMT. I want to introduce myself a little bit. I am a senior project engineer with BN Builders. I am a Sac State alumni, uh, singers up, and I'm a lifetime member. I've been a part of SHIP since 2011. On a more personable side, um, uh, like many people of my peers, I'm a huge sports fan. I love going to local sports events. I love hiking. And I love spending time with my family, which don't get to come around very often, being as I have moved a ways away since graduating college. But other than that, I'm here to share my experiences with the chapter management tool. And a lot of people ask me, what is the chapter management tool? Well, this tool was created to obtain mission alignment at the chapter level. It's a comprehensive, streamlined chapter management and improvement tool that consists of a chapter plan, and it helps chapters organize their events and programs and provide continuous feedback from their board to the chapter and their members, and just streamline kind of a better planning for the year. So I kind of want to run through what this template looks like. It's very important that when you look at your chapter management tool that you familiarize yourself with the template and you review all the tabs. There are multiple tabs to this template, which are essential to being able to use it effectively in your chapter level. So starting by the template shows some instructions and notes that are key to understand how to use it. And then there's also a tab that includes all of your executive information. So who's on your board, what is your chapter website, what kind of social media link platforms do you use. It also provides a SWOT analysis template and workshop to kind of walk you through what that means, and I'll walk you through that later on in this presentation. It also has a tab for your chapter schedule. So here you will identify what your objectives are for the year and how those objectives fall under your chapter schedule. And we'll talk a little bit about how you develop that, where to start, and what kind of questions you should be asking yourself when not only filling out this template, but using it as a resource. So first of all, one thing you want to start your year out with is completing a SWOT analysis. So what is a SWOT analysis? For those of you who haven't done one, it's a framework used to evaluate an organization's competitive position to develop a strategic planning. So SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And I'll walk you through what it means in terms of internal factors and external factors. So starting out with, again, completing this prior to the start of your planning is key so that you understand what it is that you can build off of from the previous year. So starting out with strengths. So what does your chapter do well? When you're trying to figure out what to continue on from the previous year, asking yourself, what unique attributes does your chapter have that puts you forward and gives you that edge that other chapters might not have? What are some factors that have led to the success to date? For my chapter specifically, our rich history in the Bay Area really helps us plan for the future. For example, this image is from one of our events that we've been doing for the past 25 years in collaboration with the Exploratorium here in San Francisco. So that to us is a strength, and we use that as our leverage when planning events for the next year. W stands for weaknesses. So ask yourself when planning, what could your chapter improve upon? What's something that you've done in the past, but you can do better? What are some disadvantages within your chapter? Any resources that you can improve on to help your performance as a chapter? Similar to your strengths, your weaknesses are more considered of an internal factor. What is something that you have control over within your chapter that you can improve on? For example, here in our chapter, one of our weaknesses is promoting events early enough. This is a screenshot of one of the events that we had a lot of challenges getting some feedback from our presenters and what the logistics was going to be. So we weren't able to promote this event in a timely fashion. And so we were only able to attract a small membership attendance aside from our board and the speakers. So that was one of our weaknesses that we've been working with being able to hit deadlines of promoting our events well before we need to target a head count. Moving on to opportunities. The O in SWOT is for analyzing your potential member gaps and what you can take advantage of. So what are some new ways to collaborate or communicate with your members? This is part of the external factors. So what are things that are outside of your chapter's hand that you can use as an opportunity, something positive that you can bring back to your chapter? So one of the opportunities that we have and the San Francisco Bay Area chapter is our pipeline to local high schools, specifically the robotics team in the East Bay. Lionbox, we've been able to leverage that pipeline to increase our outreach within the community. And through Lionbox, we've been able to bring in sponsorship for their competitions and bring in people who are interested in mentorship. So this has been a really big opportunity that we've been able to leverage at our chapter. For T for threats, also an external factor. Ask yourself, are there any major changes that you could that could affect your chapter? What are some obstacles that your chapter might be facing, or any organizations around you that are doing and that could offer assistance to your chapter? An example that of a threat at our chapter is our territory. This is a map of all the areas that we capture within our chapter. It's about a 90-mile radius, dense in population, and all these areas are connected by bridges. And if anybody knows about heavy traffic, a lot of traffic is based on the bottleneck of a bridge. So this is a threat to us when we go to plan our events to make sure they're centralized to our membership, that we hit all these regions when we're trying to plan for a venue, so that we give an equal opportunity to all of our members to be able to have the means to attend and be able to be localized for where they are either working or living. So I kind of want to give an example of how we use SWOT analysis in our chapter, specifically around the topic of recruitment. So I took the topic of recruitment and how we can split it up in strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So specifically, recruitment, one of our strengths is having our junior chapter that is active and very responsive to us reaching out. So we use our junior chapter to leverage our recruitment into student chapters, which then continue on to professional chapters. One of the weaknesses that we currently are facing with our junior chapter is maintaining that pipeline between them and nationals and making sure that they have the resources to be successful and to be able to provide the content that is required for the students to stay motivated and keep coming back to events and meetings. But a big opportunity that we see with our junior chapter is being able to partner with them for a future Noche de Ciencias. We already have that connection. We already have the contact. We have a venue. We have an audience. It's has all the checklist items to have a successful Noche de Ciencias. One of the threats that we do have with the junior chapter, though, is they're geographically very difficult to get to when we're trying to plan an in-person event. They are located in a more northern area of the Bay Area, which we found not a lot of our members currently reside in or work in. So those are kind of the things that we're looking at moving forward. So big picture, trying to figure out what topic you're trying to accomplish, breaking it down to your SWOT analysis, and that will help you better plan for an event in the future. So taking your SWOT analysis and going into your chapter schedule, trying to use the 3 goals when putting together your chapter schedule. So trying to revolve it around recruitment, retention, and success of the members. So as professional chapters, our goals are slightly different than what you might be used to if you've been part of a student chapter. As a professional chapter, we really try to make the success of our chapter the influence within the community and the career upward mobility of our members. So what does that mean? Being able to outreach to the student chapters, to the community, getting more children and families known about STEM opportunities, and then also being able to support our members. How can we support them to move up in their careers, to create those professional and leadership skill sets that they will need to move up? So within each goal, we also want to keep in mind the SHIP chapter objectives. So being able to align your chapter schedule with the SHIP chapter pillars, as well as the SMART criteria. So what are the chapter pillars? For professional chapters, our chapter pillars start with professional development. So professional development is providing activities geared at the soft skills, technical skills that will develop your members in the current workforce competencies. So providing workshops about personal branding. That's one of the ways that we've been able to provide this pillar in one of our events. Being able to provide a speaker to talk about how to improve personal branding. Another pillar that we've implemented in past events is leadership development. We are always gearing activities towards developing our leadership skills of our members and ensuring they have a solid foundation of leadership and how to go up the ladder. So as San Francisco Bay Area chapter, we highly encourage and promote our members to attend SHIP conferences, from RLDCs to Leadership Live, the national conference, so that they can attend workshops to gain those skill sets. Chapter development is another pillar. We try to do social events within our chapter to help our chapter members come together in an informal stage and be able to connect with their peers from um, other industries. So this is an example of an event that we've had at our chapter. We did a bonfire, very informal. We provided pizza, and then all of our members came with refreshments and snacks to share. So this was a great event. It was very successful. For those of you who are familiar with the Bay Area, it's very rare we have a good beach day with the fog that rolls in fairly early. So this was a big success. Other examples of chapter development that we've done is like scavenger/bar crawls. We've done hikes in the past as well. Anything to get our members out, sociable, getting some exercise, being in person is typically very successful within our chapter. Another pillar to keep in mind is outreach and community service. It goes back to the success of what a professional chapter is, and is to be able to give back to the community. So one of the examples for how we do this in our chapter is doing Dia de Ciencias. One of our big events that we do every year is we collaborate with the Exploratorium, as I mentioned before, and we provide STEM-based workshops. And these kind of rotate depending on what kind of theme we have going for the year. Last year, we had our theme around Dia de los Muertos. So we provided a workshop where the students were able to make sugar skulls with LED lights so they would light up so they'd be ready for the altar. So just another example of how we bring the pillars back to our events. Student chapter interaction is also very important. It's how we keep our pipeline from student chapters to professional chapters. One of the ways that we implement this pillar throughout the year is we host a mentorship program. So we typically partner with a local student chapter so that we have a one-to-one ratio between one student mentee to one professional mentor. And we have workshops set up to help prepare the students for internships, going out to the workforce, those soft skills that you don't typically get to practice or learn when you're in school, but can get that one-on-one face time with someone who's been in their shoes, has made it to the other side, and how those skills have helped them throughout their professional career. So that's another example. And then lastly, there is our career development pillar. An example of how we've implemented this pillar at our chapter is being able to provide professional speakers that can speak on different management skills. This workshop in particular was surrounded about how to approach a review with your manager and how to be able to advocate for yourself and ask for positive and also negative feedback in those sit downs that you can better improve in your skill sets at whatever level that you are. So going through those chapter pillars, the second objective when going through and planning your chapter schedule is satisfying the SMART criteria. If you're not familiar with SMART, it is a way to break down objectives to specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based. So let's discuss a little bit more about how to apply the SMART method when planning your year events. Starting with S, specific. So when you're trying to figure out what your objective is, try to be very specific and what is it that you're trying to achieve with this objective, okay? What is the outcome you're trying to accomplish? How does this specific objective tie back to your pillars? And then you can move on to M, measurable. What kind of data can you use to decide whether you've met this goal? One of the things that's really easy and tangible is we're trying to come up with like 5 different events where at least 10 people attend in person. That's a very measurable objective for year-long goal or even an event-specific goal. Being able to show that you've met a goal and being able to increase that data would really help for future boards on how they can develop on past objectives. A, attainable. Do you have the right skills and resources to be able to meet this goal? We want to also make sure that when you're coming up with your objectives, that you are very realistic of like wanting to hit something that isn't too far off, that then you're not going to be able to reach it. So if you're, for example, trying to increase sponsorship, a very attainable, also measurable goal could be trying to attain sponsorship from a new sponsor of $5,000. If you're trying to set your goal to $100,000, being realistic, is that attainable? Do you have the resources? Do you have the skill sets to go out and attain those sponsorships? So keeping in mind that. Also, R, relevant. Does the goal align with the organization? Going out and getting sponsorships is great, but is that part of your overall chapter end goal? I would say that is relevant because in order to host events and such, you would need X amount of monies. But again, making sure that whatever goal that you're putting forth aligns back to the pillars that we discussed. And then time-based, making sure that you're putting a deadline for when you want to accomplish this goal. If you leave open-ended goals, it's really hard to hit them if it's not by a certain deadline. So making sure that if you want to hit that sponsorship goal, you set yourself, okay, we want to do X amount by month 3 or quarter 1, however you split up your year calendar, and making sure that you have milestones along the way that are attainable and that you can accomplish as a team. The whole purpose of putting these goals together and using your SMART analysis is to be able to create some set of structure and also give you a plan. You don't want to go into your year feeling like you've already been defeated. So being very cognizant of what it is as a chapter, as a board, as a president that you want to accomplish, how you're going to do that, what that timeline looks like, and what best fits the skill sets that you and your board have. So that's kind of what the SMART analysis is trying to get you to do. So in summary of the importance of the chapter management tool is get familiar with your template, understand what the expectations are, complete your SWOT analysis, do this early, do this before you start planning what your goals are, what your calendar is going to look like, understand where you're starting from and where you can build up to for the new year. determine what your chapter goals are. Once you've done your SWOT analysis, now you know, okay, this is what the stuff that we can do the same as last year. They worked well. This is what we want to implement that's new and different. And maybe it's something that one of the board members is really passionate about and has experience in. But also keeping in mind how that ties back to the pillars. And then when you're creating those goals, making sure you're doing your breakdown of specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time based in hitting those milestones. And then once you've done your analysis, you've created your goals, now you can start planning your events and tying them back to those goals and making sure that it's a realistic timeline. And also making sure that you're not stacking your events at the front end or at the back end. Try to spread them out and give you get yourselves some time and space, not only for brainstorming, but for planning, finalizing venues, budgets, and etc. And also allowing yourself some time to promote those events so that you really do get the results for all the hard work that goes into planning those events. And then lastly, have fun with it. If you're having fun planning and putting together itineraries and events for your chapter, your members will see that and they'll feel that, and that will be an easy way to have your members come back and keep coming back to your events because they're having fun because they see you having fun doing them. Yeah, that's my sum up of your chapter management tool. Please make sure to use that. It's a resource. It's a tool to be used throughout your planning. And I hope that this was helpful for how to use your chapter management tool. Thank you.